This video is going to go over a few different examples of skills by wingers, specifically on the half wall in the D zone on the breakout. This is something that I believe is really important. In the years I've coached, this is one of the things that if a winger can't get the puck out on the breakout or keep it going, and it's a turnover, usually if it's turned over 3 times without breaking out, that's kind of the rule of thumb. It'll end up in the back of your net, or you'll take a penalty, or something bad will happen. So it's tough to take a centerman and convert him to a winger. I know there's coaches out there that say and believe it's just, oh, wingers just go up and down the wall. Not quite that easy. You'll see here just in one small aspect of what a winger does, how many different variations there are. So let's start going through the videos. The very first few videos here are the simple breakout pass when the winger has no pressure on, and this is the way it's been taught for years and what most coaches think of when they see when they're teaching wingers to take a pass on the boards. So just let it roll here. So right here, winger, we're looking at left-hand shot on the left wing. He's got his butt to the boards, hands out away from his body, catching that puck across his body on the forehand, brings it across, just turns his body up ice and starts going forward, which is the way we generally see it. Again, this guy's kind of pointing down ice a little bit, but butt to the boards, takes that puck, pivots up ice. Again, the player we're looking at right here has his butt to the boards kind of, but still facing down towards the defenseman. Right-handed shot on the right side. Catches that puck, just makes that pivot and goes forward with it. And here we're watching the guy on the boards on the half wall. That puck went D to center swing, and now it's going over to the wing. And this is the prototypical what coaches teach and look for is skates and body and stick up ice. And this is fine when there's no pressure. As you can see, this guy has no pressure around him at all. He's got a huge amount of space with nobody even close to him. So protecting that puck isn't quite as important in this situation. You can take it in the most efficient way possible. And here we got a winger on his offhand. So we got a left-handed shot playing on the right-handed side. Again, he doesn't have a pinching defenseman. He's just heading up ice. See, and this is the danger of this play. You can see he's looking back right over his shoulder, but he's going up ice. So this is where a winger that doesn't have his head on a swivel or good peripherals, doesn't see that defenseman coming, gets into this position, skating up ice with his head looking back, and that's a clean hit for a defenseman. So this works out okay, but it's a pass, catches it on his backhand, pivots and goes up ice. And now we're going to get into a little bit about winger depth. So when thinking about depth of a winger, you can use the top of the circles as a reference point, the hash marks as a reference point. Some guys like to play their guys even up above here. Depending on what the other team is doing, pinching defensemen, all that kind of stuff, you're going to have to come up with a plan on it. But one thing I always talk about is if your winger is down here, he's below their forwards. So you can see the other team's 2 forwards are here. They've got a defenseman back up in this area and a defenseman back up in this area. So if that puck is passed to this winger, the forward can make a play on him. This forward right here can attack and make a play on that winger. Where if you have a winger, if you have this winger up in this area, if this defenseman with the puck can hit him with a pass, then he doesn't have to contend with this forward checking him. He's up above that, so all he really has to beat is the defenseman. So we'll play these. And what you see here is this forward does make a play on him, so then your center swing or your weak side will have to come all the way across to fill in those lanes, because if not, as you see here, he's just going to bank that puck. If you don't have support coming there, and that's what young wingers always run into, is they get down too low, the forward makes a play on them, they bang the puck around the forward, and then the other team's defenseman, this guy, steps in and has that puck as a freebie because the winger's too low and he can walk right in and take a shot with it. So if you're going to have low wingers, you need to have a support plan like these guys do across. Here's another example of it. As you can see, there's nobody up. There'd be a defenseman up here somewhere, but the winger, the San Jose winger, is chipping that puck past into an area where there's no support at the moment. So again, this guy in the middle of the ice, whether that's the weak side winger or the center coming up the middle, has to be alert and know that we've got low wingers and somebody has to come over there and support. This turns into a pretty good shot just because that winger, the weak side winger, couldn't get across and come out and put pressure on him. So that's the danger of low wingers. Now we're going to get into a few different examples of versus pinching D and rims. So here's a rim play, left-handed shot on the right side. As a winger, he's got a pinching D right on his back. So if you think about that, if the Ottawa player is turned the other way and his stick is up ice, like we showed in the first few examples of a breakout with no pressure, that defenseman's just going to take that puck away and it's going to be gone. There's going to be no way that guy can protect the puck when he's turned up ice. So he's got his back turned to the pinching defenseman and just uses his stick to either bang that puck against the boards and try to bank it out. He actually bangs it through the guy's feet, turns on it on the forehand, makes another bank, and it's out. Numerous different skills here, and that's all we're going to focus on is the numerous different options and things a winger has to know and do rather than just get his butt to the boards. There's a left-handed winger on the left side boxing out. Right-handy on the left side, backhand touch. Here's Kane coming down, just a little soft backhand. Here's an actual pivot. Leipzig here with Portland, just facing his defenseman. It's a flip pass, grabs it out of the air, gone with it. And here's a high winger. So what you see here is the winger is high, center swing is below, and the top winger is just boxing out that defenseman. Feels pressure coming, quick punch back to the center swing and breakout. So that's just a different winger depth. Here you've got a right-handed shot on the right side. Now this one, any coach that ever sees this, of course you're going to think it's dangerous. In today's game now with the rules, you're going to see it a lot more. This should only be taught at certain levels, not at the younger levels. Young kids and players that aren't quite as skilled don't have the physical or mental ability to be able to identify and shut off here. If you look at this player coming in and the player that has the puck and is protecting it, he's really vulnerable if the player in white wants to finish that check. But as you can see, that player starts, he's in a snowplow, he's starting to slow down and he has his one hand up, he's going stick on puck and he's just using one hand to make soft contact. That player makes a nice little backhand pass, absorbs the hit, and it's a good breakout. Rim, and here's I always call it the 9-iron or the pinch chip or whatever, different terminology, but you'll see Zetterberg here, it was just a hard rim around, and he figures, he took a shoulder check and seen that the Chicago player was pinching on him, so he's now made his decision to make that chip. He comes in and just, it's like pinching the puck against the boards and it just shoots it up over top. It's almost like a lob shot. Here's another example of it. This Portland player is coming down. He's racing for that puck, protects it, and it's just a forehand. You can see the puck bounce off the glass up over top of that defenseman. It's a really, really effective play to be able to manipulate the puck and get under it and get up and over. Here's a right-handed shot doing that same thing, right-handed shot on the right-handed side, skating down towards that rimmed puck and just pinching it with the blade of his stick up and over top. Here's weak side play. So as a winger too, you've got to identify, here's a weak side defenseman joining the play. Pretty good passing option to go right across there if you run into trouble. Weak side D-men have to be alert and ready to jump in. Now here's, this is the only time I've ever seen that turn your back on a pinching defenseman play backfire. So the Philly player here had his back turned to the pinching defenseman. Pinching defenseman's on him. He thinks he's safe, but good old Zach Rinaldo is the one that figures out you're not safe. He just comes from below, finishes a check on him. So that would be probably the most dangerous situation of that play, because that guy coming from behind you is not going to make a check on you. So, and again for wingers, this one, I'm going to just back it up a little bit. If you don't get out of the zone with speed, the other team's checker, the other team's forwards will come back above you. So in this one, just watch, puck goes up here to, I think it's Yager, and he just, instead of moving that puck quick to somebody, he just holds on to it, and lets everybody get back up above him, or not everybody, but the one player gets back up above him. So there's a time and a place to hold that puck and to get it moving. That one wasn't too bad, but this one you'll see is not great. So the player here catches that puck, and he's got everybody, all the other team's forwards down below him, and if he were to find a way to get that puck moving right here, probably be a decent breakout, but he just holds on to it, lets two guys go by, and then gets caught by the third guy. It was a line change, he might have been stalling or whatever, but you just want to think of that example. When wingers hold on to it too long, it's you sometimes get in trouble because their forwards come back and check you rather than getting out. And like anything, if you don't hustle up, there's always going to be turnovers there, but you want to limit them by working on these skills. This guy did nothing wrong. He just center support, didn't get on top of that puck, ended up in the back of the net. So it's not always going to be perfect, but if you look at all of those different skills we just showed there, you'll see that a winger just isn't going up and down the wall. And that play at the half wall on a breakout, a winger that can get it to the centerman or get it around the defenseman or get it to support, weak side, whatever, is absolutely crucial to your transition game, your breakout, and being able to possess that puck and play with it in the other team's end. Because like I said right off the hop, the teams that I've had when I've tried to convert centers to wingers and trying to get them to understand all those skills and be able to utilize some of that, it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't just happen. So as a coach, look at some of those skills and start designing some drills around introducing those skills to young players and starting to get them familiar with it, rather than just doing the old butt to the boards in practice with no pressure on them. Because at a game, it's not a lot of times you're sitting there with no pressure. There's always a D-man pinching or somebody on you. So like anything, train it representative to what's happening in a game. If you have any comments on this, please make them. This is a controversial one, doing coaching clinics. There's always comments on it, and people, as soon as they see the videos, they kind of start thinking a little bit. But I'd love to hear your feedback. Thanks.